Romeo, Kilo, Foxtrot, Sierra. This is Ambition, more to follow, stand by. Golf, X-ray, Hotel, Charlie, Golf, Uniform, stand by. Golf, X-ray, Hotel, Charlie, Golf, Uniform, stand by. Golf, X-ray, Hotel, Charlie, Golf, Uniform, stand by. Message follows. Golf, X-ray, Hotel, Charlie, Golf, Uniform, 4, 4, Foxtrot, 2, 4, Yankee, X-ray, Foxtrot, Oscar, 5, 6, Hotel, Tango, 6, November, Echo, Oscar, November, 2, Kilo, India, X-ray, 3, Golf, Iceman, Golf, X-ray, Hotel, Charlie, Golf, Uniform, 4, 4, Foxtrot, 2, 4, Yankee, X-ray, Foxtrot, Oscar, 5, Foxtrot, 6, November, Echo, Oscar, November, 2, Kilo, India, X-ray, 3, Golf. This is Ambition, more to follow, stand by. Golf, X-ray, Golf, Oscar, Whiskey, Mike, stand by. Golf, X-ray, Golf, Oscar, Whiskey, Mike, stand by. Golf, X-ray, Golf, Whiskey, Mike, stand by. Message follows. Golf, X-ray, Golf, Oscar, Whiskey, Mike, Uniform, X-ray, Foxtrot, November, India, 4, X-ray, Bravo, Papa, Papa, Charlie, Whiskey, 2, Uniform, 3, Oscar, Foxtrot, Echo, Yankee, 5, Echo, Sierra, Delta, Oscar, I say again, Golf, X-ray, Golf, Oscar, Whiskey, Mike, Uniform, X-ray, Foxtrot, November, India, 4, X-ray, Bravo, Papa, Papa, Charlie, Whiskey, 2, Uniform, 3, Oscar, Foxtrot, Echo, Yankee, 5, Echo, Sierra, Delta, Oscar. This is Ambition out.
What up, fools? Yeah, these EAMs have been starting to really kick off in the last half hour, 45 minutes. There's been quite an uptake after a few days of after a few days of them being silent. But I'll be doing LWN tonight. He called me a little earlier. Um, but then at 10 p.m. Eastern, we're going to do a very interesting show. That's I had some inclination, but I started to get some information, and then I was told after Trump made a True Social post that I would be able to start putting my theory out there. Emphasis on theory. So he put out that a True Social post about the enriched uranium, and now I'm pretty much certain that I was the only one, well, the only one that's publicly broadcasted about that Pakistani Aleutian plane. I think we got it all. And because some of the information that I'll be able to allude to tonight is going to be why I believe we got it all. You know, for the most part, it's going to explain a lot of the helicopters and Black Hawks and the ISR planes that have been flying around. So, yeah, I think it's about ready to get interesting. About 15 states in Orlando. Oh, something very big is, and I heard this morning that, and I can't confirm it. I mean, I've had two people tell me this who are physically in DC, that the rumor mill, I guess we'll call it, is Ilhan Omar's about ready to be removed from Congress along with Jayapal. And they're going to be brought up on some very stiff charges. Yeah, we had last night and this morning, we had about 6 Black Hawks fly over my place, and these fuckers were low, very low. I mean, it shook the house. So I was like, oh shit, are they going after Marilyn Manson? Yeah, I see. Some of you guys were kind of disappointed I hadn't been on in a few minutes. Never be disappointed. I'm not all that great of an attraction. Just ask anybody. Let's see. I think once in this show tonight, I think once I start putting some of these events together that have happened over the last 60 days, I needed, really, Jason? Kelly was having spook withdrawals. Get the bunk bed chopper. That's funny. That's funny. But this is going to be, and now I can see why there were so many delays, and Trump coming out and saying certain things about Iran and why there were delays now, it was all calculated. I mean, I kind of figured as much because he's not just going to come out and air roving reporter in the Air 1B. uh, it's going to start making a lot of sense. And whoever come up with this operational planning for this, dude, they deserve a promotion because uh, she kept asking you, sissy. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much of this, but this is, oh my god. And I had yeah, I'm not too far from WKRP, about 3.5 hours north. Um I had my feeling about it, but when I started getting um yeah, Jeff Nessman, that's funny. uh probably there's a lot of people, Doc, that won't get that. Um this is really starting to make a lot of sense. I mean, this is nuts. And so when we this kind of I got a big I'm not answering on this question, but I had asked this individual, is this one of the reasons why there's been an uptick in Janet flights going to Nellis, Area 51, and all they would say was basically they were bringing in scientists who normally don't work there. So, what about the nuclear sub going into the Strait of G? Um, yeah, are you speaking about the Straits of Hormuz? And what's going to? My first thought was because the mayor joined. Never fear negative. Q negative is here. Uh, yeah, you know, here's the other stupid thing with with this fucking virus, right? Why wouldn't you keep them on this fucking ship? Oh, the Straits of Gibraltar. I did not hear that. Gibraltar. That's up in the UK, right? Or no, 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 no. What am I thinking of? Up in the UK. Gibraltar is I'm thinking of the Isle of Man. That's up in uh, Gibraltar. Isn't that's over in the near the Middle East, but in the oh, not the Malaccan Straits. Yeah, the Med. Okay. Duh. Yeah, I was thinking of the Isle of Man up in. Well, if they're moving an Ohio class, that's a big boy. I mean, that's a boomer. So that's Craig's hangout. uh, yeah, Spain and Morocco. Um, mm, yeah, Morocco. So, yeah. Did you guys see the reporting about there was allegedly a phone call between Zelensky and Putin? Well, I can, yeah. I mean, at minimum, I'm trying to think. I think the Ohio class, I think there's 24 VLMs, vertical launch tubes, 12 and 12. So 12 on the port, 12 on the starboard. How is Zelensky? How is Russia still fighting? Because remember, they had lost all these troops. You know, a million a day or a month wasn't. Uh, yeah, It- yeah. I was listening to Vesti or oh shit. In English, it translates to evening news. Um, Russia's out of missiles. Yep, according to Kiev all handcuffs. Yep, the paper tiger, baby. Um, how about all this shit with this redistricting? See, now I'm beginning to think that there we possibly I don't know. Man, I'm so confused on this midterm. I'm really confused on what the play is because all of these states are now, well, not all of them, but a lot of these states are going back to the regular redistricting the way that the state constitution says instead of um, the way basically the Democrats had violated state constitutions on these districts. I don't think there is. I mean, I'm sticking with my gut and saying that there's going to be something. Oh my god, I seen that. Did she? I seen a thumbnail. Did she really throw her hat in for 2028? Please tell me that she did. I mean, that would be a gift. Could you imagine her on the debate stage? Holy Holy shit. That would make the 2016 debates look like child's play. Oh, and so from what I gather, at the correspondence dinner, there was a secondary attack that was forwarded um, after the initial one, and that is why they basically locked Trump down, because they didn't know if there was going to be a third or fourth attack. But I'm trying to get an answer on why they're not reporting this second attack, and I have a feeling that it has to do with this fatwa that was issued out of Iran through the mullahs. Yeah, and you know what I'm starting to see? I think it was it Benny Johnson or somebody over the weekend started doing some clips on how his height changed up and down, up and down. I think it was Benny Johnson. So I wonder who's telling him to start putting that out, because I'm sure. Yeah, I know, bro. I think, but I don't know. Something is definitely. I think maybe you know there were two options. We do the emergency order on elections, because I think it was no, it wasn't Trump. It was his chief of staff. I seen a clip where she said on election night, when Biden quote unquote won, uh, and I'm going to try to confirm this story, because I mean it did come out of her mouth that when she was summoned down to Mar-a-Lago, this is during uh, the night of the 2020 election, and somehow she knew that the election was stolen. Or this I'm sorry, this wasn't the night of the election. This was after the election was done. And she was summoned down to Mar-a-Lago, and she had made the comment that Trump thought I was only like 10 minutes away, but it was actually a 4-hour drive to get there. And he had asked her whether she believed that the election was stolen. And in so many words, she basically said, yeah, we know it was. So that's. Oh, Oh, you knew that was coming, Hit Gal. Oh, he's stealing the midterms, and oh, you wait, because even Timu Obama is starting to, put that rhetoric out. Mark Kelly's fucked. I I can tell you one thing that I know for fact, and it's already happened, and this is why this part of this Iranian shit went down. The pilots who flew in all that cash to Iran under Obama, they weren't indicted, they were subpoenaed. Okay? Not only that, truck drivers in Virginia, D.C., and Maryland were subpoenaed and testified in front of a grand jury. And they said, what can you say? All roads lead to Obama? Oh, shit. Let's see here. Oh, and I heard also, uh, uh, and do you remember when Obama was seen in the UK? Well, I think his little visit to the UK, I believe, has to do with this new virus. And I think they're now reporting that there are 3 dead from this cruise ship. Let me see. I want to see if I can grab this video. Let's see.
Think safety. Think Granger. For trusted products to lock, anchor, contain, and protect. Granger. Call, click, or just stop by.
Yeah, I think they did a press conference. Let me see. I hate these fucking ads. Yeah, this wasn't it. That was University of Nebraska. Where in the Sam fuck? Let me see. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah. I can't seem to find it, but it's okay, this is from the Tanner Reef. So let me pull this up. We'll play this because I'm telling you, this all sounds so fucking familiar. It's like the same damn playbook. It really sounds like the same old playbook. Give me 1 minute to cue this up. Interact. Yeah, so remember uh What is it that we're banning? Oh, I don't think the American people are going to put up with a lockdown. All right, let me get this queued up. So this is actually going on right now, but I'll go back to the beginning.
Spain did it in style and as planned. Of course, I'm not surprised because all the three ministers have been together here round the clock, monitoring every minute and making sure that it happens. So my appreciation for the leadership of Monica, Fernando, and Angel. Of course, Prime Minister Sanchez has also been following, and it's the strong government commitment that made this happen, and that's why I said, well done, and thank you for your leadership. But not only what you see here, they have been coordinating with all countries who have citizens of this, the ship's passengers, and that really helped. And I was saying to Melissa Bell earlier, I was talking to her and I said, this is the triumph of solidarity, because it's because of solidarity that this is happening. And that's what we need. And then, of course, in addition to thanking the government of Spain, thanking the European Union, the ECDC is in place. Thank you so much for your partnership, and the EU team has been indispensable. And of course, I would like to thank the people of Tenerife Island. Really appreciate for the compassion and solidarity, without which this would not have happened. And of course, we thank also the passengers. I know through what situation they have passed. It's very, very, from some of those who have spoken to us, I can see how distressing it was, especially until they left Cabo Verde. They were very much in distress because 3 patients were evacuated from there with symptoms, and they were in distress. But we thank them for their patience and for their cooperation throughout. And of course, our appreciation also to the crew, especially the captain, Jan Jobergowski, who is really incredible leader. He really helped in calming the passengers and also communicating with us for all the information that we needed. So this is really a teamwork under the leadership of Spain and coordination of Spain. And I say you have done it in style and well done. Of course, as you know, the ship is now going to Rotterdam. There are around 30 people, the crew and 2 health workers, and they will need our support throughout their journey until they reach Rotterdam. But not only that, there are also some work that should be done in Rotterdam, and would like to assure the crew, the courageous crew, which is still in the ship, of our support, and we'll continue to monitor and support them in any way possible. Then the last message is to countries who are receiving their passengers or their citizens, and to the passengers first. The passengers, you're now in good hands. We were very worried. If you stayed longer in the ship, the situation could have been difficult. You heard about the passenger from France who is in a very critical situation. Imagine if she stayed longer in the ship. And evacuating them or repatriating them is the right thing, because all the passengers will get the necessary support and the quality support that they deserve. And to the people of those countries who are receiving their citizens, nothing to fear. The risk is low. This is not another COVID. And I hope you will continue to show your compassion and solidarity to your citizens and help them to integrate, of course, after the 42 days of isolation. But at least during that time, you passengers are in good hands, and I hope you will cooperate with your respective countries and experts. So thank you so much again to Spain. Muchas gracias. I learned lots of words while here, one of which I listen to saying very frequently is because this thing needs urgency. Vamos. So that I will keep with me, but I will also learn more. Thank you so much to the crew, also of the press members here. I have seen how difficult it was also for you to report from here. Thank you for your commitment, and really appreciate that you joined us, and all the very best. And thank you, Ministra. Thank you.
Ha sido sin duda una semana frenética, casi una semana frenética, porque han sido menos de 7 días. Desde que el martes la Organización Mundial de la Salud comunicó al presidente del gobierno la situación y que este crucero debía llegar al puerto más cercano de España, ha sido una actividad sin descanso, con múltiples reuniones, hasta 8 al día, y hemos estado en contacto desde el Ministerio con los distintos territorios donde había personas que estaban en este crucero, que por fin ya están en nuestro país, están en España, están seguras, y muy pronto, una vez que ya así lo definan las precauciones y también las recomendaciones sanitarias, podrán llegar a sus casas y están, repito, ya en nuestro país seguros. Y también en esas reuniones permanentes con el Gobierno Autónomo de Canarias, en el que hemos trabajado de la mano, con la voluntad de poder hacer las cosas de la mejor manera posible, y quiero decir con absoluta seguridad que todos compartirán que esto ha sido y ha terminado siendo un éxito. Y permítanme simplemente decir, como canario, que esta es una tierra amable, querida, y en muchas ocasiones de manera sana envidiada por su climatología, su lugar en el mundo, sus bellezas naturales y también sus gentes, ¿no? Pero también es una tierra que ha sido sometida en varias ocasiones a pruebas complicadas y difíciles que tienen que ver con el ámbito sanitario. Aquí se dio el primer caso de COVID de nuestro país el 30 de enero del año 2020 con un turista alemán en la isla de La Gomera, y en aquel momento recuerdo que una prueba PCR había que mandarla, no se podían hacer aquí a la península, y tardaba días en saber si era o no positivo. Lo era, y sin embargo, con la lógica situación de precaución, las cosas se hicieron bien. Y luego, el 23 de febrero del año 2020, aquí se tuvo que cerrar un hotel, aquí al lado, en Adeje, muy cerca de Granadilla, donde había 1000 personas, y también después de la cuarentena, con trabajos de repatriación que se hicieron a múltiples países, las cosas también se hicieron bien. Por eso quiero reconocerlo, hacía también la ministra de Sanidad, el compromiso, la comprensión, el sentir de todos los canarios, de Granadilla, de Tenerife, del conjunto de las islas, que vuelven, sinceramente lo creo, a dar un ejemplo al mundo de que esta es una tierra amable en la climatología, pero también solidaria, que cree en la ciencia, que cree en los criterios científicos y que, por supuesto, está orgullosa también, lógicamente, de su sanidad. Y por tanto, diciendo esto, acabar dándole las gracias a los medios de comunicación frente a los bulos, medios oficiales y ciencia. Frente a los miedos y las alarmas también, seguir los criterios científicos y también ciencia. Y ante cualquier adversidad, saber que estamos bien cuidados por quienes lo saben, a quienes les damos las gracias porque indudablemente nos protegen. Y por tanto, mis últimas palabras es de agradecimiento a esta noble tierra, que es la tierra, mi tierra, que es Canarias.
Sí, muy brevemente, yo lo que querría hacer hincapié es la importancia de tener unos sistemas nacionales de protección civil potentes que sean capaces de actuar tanto en prevención como en respuesta rápida contra todo tipo de emergencia. Y en ese sentido también tener un mecanismo europeo de protección civil que hemos visto también importante, potente, con músculo, que ha funcionado. Estamos trabajando, incrementando las competencias de todo tipo de ese mecanismo europeo de protección civil, como dije el otro día, para ser capaces de abordar cualquier tipo de emergencia de carácter desastres naturales, que como sabemos vienen impulsados de una forma decidida por el cambio climático, pero también las emergencias de carácter sanitario, también el cambio climático tiene una incidencia importante y relevante, y para eso hay que tener medios, hay que estar preparados. Desde el punto de vista nacional, tenemos un sistema nacional de protección civil del Estado en todo su conjunto, administración central, comunidades autónomas, administraciones locales, que estamos realmente incrementando. También desde el ámbito europeo, como he dicho, y en ese sentido es la única forma de ser capaces de responder tanto en el ámbito interno, pero en el ámbito externo y en el multilateralismo. Ese multilateralismo tan importante y donde, por ejemplo, la Organización Mundial de la Salud, en este caso y en este tipo de emergencias, cuenta un papel decisivo. Y ese mecanismo europeo de protección civil, todos los funcionarios públicos en el ámbito de sanidad exterior, en el ámbito de las fuerzas y cuerpos de seguridad, Policía Nacional, Guardia Civil, la UME, la Unidad Militar de Emergencias, todos los funcionarios civiles que trabajan, que ayudan y que cooperan. Yo creo que esta actuación es un ejemplo de que en nuestro país nos preocupamos realmente por esa protección civil, por ese sistema de protección civil, por actuar en prevención, en respuesta. Y sabéis que ahora lo que estamos debatiendo también es ese pacto de Estado contra el cambio climático, contra la crisis climática, y en ese ámbito seguiremos trabajando. Respuestas como esta a nivel nacional interno, a nivel europeo, y quiero mirar a Holanda, perdonadme, ya termino, como país pabellón, titular del pabellón del barco, su compromiso también efectivo, su cooperación y coordinación. Nosotros nos correspondía, evidentemente, como sociedad realmente comprometida y empática, actuar en los mismos términos, porque recuerdo que el verano pasado nuestro país, dentro de las mismas emergencias, sufrió incendios muy importantes, y también Holanda fue solidaria, empática. Por eso la importancia del multilateralismo, la importancia de trabajar todos juntos y de darnos de los medios necesarios. Yo solo puedo agradecer, pero esto es consecuencia de un trabajo y de un esfuerzo a nivel interno y externo realmente importante.
Se me olvidó decirlo en inglés, Alfred, ¿lo digo en inglés? Vale. Bueno, I forgot the English. Mission accomplished. We have just finished the operation successfully. Between yesterday and today, we have evacuated 125 passengers and crew from 23 countries. Now these passengers and crew are or on their countries or flying to their countries. Thanks, as you know, to the WHO, ECDC, all the international authorities, the European Commission, the or local civil servants and or local public servants, all the public servants from our ministries, all the governments here is the government of Netherlands. Thank you very much for your support. And of course, thank you for the press and the media, and of course, thank you for the people of Canary Island. As you know, as you may have noticed, the weather has been complicated today. The wind has made the disembarkation maneuvers more difficult and unsafe, and we have decided to moor the ship and disembark the passenger for safety reasons. The ship has been docked more or less 1 hour here in this port, and at 7 p.m. has left the ship to Netherlands. 27 people have disembarked, and other 27 remain at the ship. And these are other number difference from this morning, because finally the Australian flight, the Australian plane has arrived, and we have 2 planes this afternoon. So thank you very much again, and mission accomplished. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for the information. My name is Tamaral Teresco from Radio Canada. My question is for the Director General of the World Health Organization. Now that you have passengers across multiple countries in the world, what are your thoughts on the quarantine? Some countries are not going to quarantine for 42 days. Are they putting their population at risk?
What I believe is countries will do everything to protect their citizens, and the guidance is clear. It's 42 days of isolation from May 10. May 10 was yesterday. And it could be facility or it could be home. Home isolation or facility isolation. But it will be up to countries actually to decide. But what I believe is all countries who have been involved take this very seriously, and they will do everything to help the passengers and to protect also the rest of their citizens.
Canada has chosen 21 days. What is your message to countries who do make that decision?
I would ask if they could do the 42 days because as you know, 42 days or 6 to 8 weeks incubation is scientifically concluded. So following the science is very important, adhering to the science based on evidence. We can't. As you know, WHO cannot impose, protocols or guidelines on any country. At the end of the day, each and every country has a sovereign right to decide for itself. But what's very important is I have seen commitment in many of those countries, and they will do everything to make sure that the passengers get support and also the citizens are protected. Thank you.
Buenas tardes, una pregunta para la ministra desde TV3. Quería preguntarle sobre la desinfección del puerto, que decían que está prevista, no sé si para las próximas horas, para los próximos días. ¿Cuándo se hará? Gracias.
Pues hará efectivamente en las próximas horas. Ya tenemos el protocolo, que es un protocolo que está establecido que compartimos entre las autoridades marítimas y las autoridades de sanidad. Como bien sabe, Sanidad Exterior trabaja firmemente y trabaja siempre en colaboración con el resto de las autoridades, y procederemos a la desinfección de la única zona por la que han pasado los pasajeros y la tripulación.
A usted, señora ministra. La operación ha sido un éxito, España ha sacado músculo para el mundo, pero yo le quería preguntar, ya se han dado mucha prisa en resolver este asunto que era de urgencia nacional e internacional. Usted como ministra lleva ahora mismo un chaleco de sanidad exterior, representa a esos trabajadores también, que supongo que le habrán hecho llegar sus reivindicaciones fruto de la precariedad que viven estos trabajadores, y también los médicos a los que usted representa están en huelga y están trabajando por mejorar sus condiciones laborales. Se han dado mucha prisa con esta crisis, insisto, necesaria. ¿Qué van a hacer o con qué velocidad y qué va a hacer para todos esos trabajadores del ministerio al que usted representa?
Bueno, hoy estamos aquí en una rueda de prensa en la que estamos hablando del mecanismo que ha tenido a todo el mundo en vilo, al que ha tenido a todos los españoles en vilo, que ha tenido a toda la prensa internacional en vilo y todas las autoridades sanitarias. Creo que debemos responder, y estoy dando respuesta en esta rueda de prensa, a todas esas exigencias con transparencia, con celeridad, y claro que nos hemos dado prisa en resolver este problema, porque este es un problema que no solamente atañe a ciudadanos, a 14 ciudadanos españoles y españolas, sino que atañe a la salud pública mundial. No solamente nos hemos dado prisa, pero con todas las garantías y toda la seguridad posible. No solamente lo hemos hecho en colaboración con todas las autoridades sanitarias, sino que además creo que hemos mandado un mensaje que es absolutamente fundamental. El Gobierno de España responde, el Gobierno de España se hace cargo de todas las circunstancias sanitarias, interiores y exteriores. El Gobierno de España trabaja por y para, en este caso el Ministerio de Sanidad, para la salud mundial, para la salud global y, como decía el ministro, no sé si Ángel Torres, para el multilateralismo. Creo que hoy es el día de hablar de este operativo, creo que hoy es el día de hablar de cómo ha sido de exitoso el multilateralismo y la cooperación con todos y cada uno de los organismos internacionales, y cómo hoy España, no solamente el Gobierno de España, cómo hoy España ha dado ejemplo al resto del mundo. Y creo que hoy es el día de estar orgullosos de nuestro país una vez más. Muchas gracias.
Hola. Para Mónica García también, código 10. El hecho de que se insistiese tanto desde el principio, antes de que comenzase toda esta evacuación, de que iba a ser a través del fondeo y no atracando, que era algo que también preocupaba mucho a los propios trabajadores del puerto, que finalmente la evacuación haya sido atracando, ¿les permite seguir afirmando de que la operación haya sido todo un éxito, pese a que era algo que no estaba contemplado para nada desde el principio?
Bueno, estaban contemplados todos los escenarios. De hecho, desde la primera vez que nos reunimos con el presidente Clavijo y dijimos que la opción que valorábamos en ese momento era el fondeo, sin descartar en ningún momento el atraco, entre otras cosas por las condiciones meteorológicas. Hoy, Capitanía Marítima nos ha informado de la inseguridad que suponía trasladar y desembarcar a los pasajeros y a la tripulación a través del mecanismo que utilizamos ayer, porque ayer había unas condiciones meteorológicas que fueron muy favorables, que no suelen ser frecuentes en este puerto, por cierto, ya nos lo habían avisado, y obviamente hemos tomado la mejor decisión en el mejor momento, en el momento de que no podíamos poner en riesgo que cualquiera de estos pasajeros pudiera tener un accidente en el desembarco. Una vez que Capitanía Marítima nos dice que no era seguro ese tipo de desembarco, hemos atracado el barco durante un poquito menos de una hora. Hemos informado, por supuesto, a todas las autoridades, al presidente Clavijo también, el cual me ha dicho que esperaba que la operación se completara con éxito. Que muchas gracias por informarle y que esperaba que la operación se completara con éxito. El ir tomando decisiones, las mejores decisiones para salvaguardar la salud y la seguridad de los pasajeros era nuestro principal motivo de toda esta operación. Y, por supuesto, hemos seguido todas las indicaciones que nos ha estado dando desde Capitanía Marítima.
Buenas, ministra, desde Radio Nacional. Queríamos saber cuándo sabremos los resultados de las PCR que se les practicó a los españoles, que dijeron que sería a lo largo del día de hoy, pero no han trascendido. Gracias.
Pues justo, si me has visto mirar al director general de Salud Pública, es porque estamos pendientes de que nos den el resultado a lo largo de la tarde. Lo que sí que sabemos es que están bien, que se encuentran bien, que están agradecidos, y bueno, pues que esta mañana hemos tenido una reunión con los 14 españoles y españolas que están en el Gómez Ulla a través del centro de control del Ministerio de Sanidad, y bueno, nos han trasladado pues no solamente su agradecimiento, nos han trasladado todas sus dudas, que las hemos resuelto, lo que puede acontecer en los próximos días en función de los resultados de esas PCRs, y que la cuarentena, en principio, si no había ningún cambio en función del día que se considera el día cero de contacto con el último caso, pues empezaba el día 6 de mayo. Esta circunstancia, insisto, puede cambiar en función de los datos epidemiológicos que vayamos teniendo.
Minister, question from Australia. How complicated has it been trying to coordinate with countries on the other side of the world like Australia?
I know. The complicated with the plane? Yes, it has been very complicated, this plane, but finally this plane is here. But this plane is going to fly to Netherlands first with the 6 people that I said this morning, 4 citizens of Australia, 1 of Netherlands, New Zealand, and 1 British citizen. See. Thank you very much.
Madam Garthia, Sadia Chowdhury from Sky News. Can you tell us a bit about how relieved you're feeling, but also perhaps how proud you are of what Spain has achieved here? And Dr. Tedros, a different question to you. Has the game plan all along been to make countries cope with and deal with their own individual cases of hantavirus that you could see coming? Has the game plan all along been to make countries, sovereign countries themselves, deal with their own cases of hantavirus that you could foresee?
First of all, I am so very proud. I am so very proud because we work as a team. We are a very, very, very huge team. This team is conformed by all of you, all the authorities, all the international authorities, health authorities, and this is a good example of how is important the global health, the view of the global health, and how is important the multilateralism and all the cooperation, all the coordination that we have learned from the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you very much.
Sí, ministra.
Un segundo que va a contestar.
Yeah, so the repatriation and then, of course, countries taking care of their respective citizens was actually the plan. And we were focused on implementing that. And that's why, based on the IHR, we asked Spain to accept the ship. And of course, you have seen the mission. It's already accomplished on time as planned. But that has been the plan from the start.
But is it because you could see that the number of cases would rise in the coming days?
It's not about number of cases increasing, but keeping them in a ship in a smaller space, it really affects the passengers. And you have seen some of the messages that were coming from the passengers. I remember one of them, Jake, saying, "We're not airlines, we're not figures, we're human beings." And they needed support. To be honest, some people say, well, they could have stayed there and, isolated, and I think it's cruel. I don't think that should actually be considered as an option. If any one of those who were saying this could change their place and move them to the ship, I don't think they would accept that. As you can imagine, there was even mental breakdown for some of the passengers. It's very difficult to stay for weeks in a small container. You can imagine how it affects mentally. And many of them are also senior citizens, and they have many chronic illnesses. And imagine carrying that for several weeks. So this is the best option we have, and the only option we have, because we have to take care of the passengers and the crew, of course there. Some people say there are few they could have stayed. I mean, even one is one too many. To be honest, if we care about human beings, it starts with one. If I don't care about one person, 150 is a lot, then I don't care about thousands. So that's what it is. So from the start, the plan was to help them get to their countries, get better treatment, like what we're doing that. But at the same time, all preparations have been done to also protect the public. So you can strike a balance to do that. And that has been the plan. We didn't consider the plan of keeping them there because that could have been so cruel. And we should worry about even one life or one person. Thank you. Thank you.
Sí, ministra, buenas tardes. Para ABC, teniendo en cuenta que el avión australiano finalmente no ha venido y que se han tenido que repatriar con los dos aviones holandeses, como solicitaba el sábado por la noche el gobierno de Canarias que se hiciese ayer con esos aviones o con el avión español, ¿ha valido la pena el alargar hasta hoy el fondeo del barco aquí, teniendo en cuenta también las condiciones climatológicas, que también se había advertido que los vientos alisios pues, podían provocar que no se pudiese desembarcar con las lanchas? Gracias.
El avión australiano sí que ha llegado. Lo que pasa es que el operativo italiano lo que ha mandado es un avión desde Luxemburgo a Países Bajos. De Países Bajos el operativo australiano sí que ha llegado. Y el operativo de Países Bajos, que le habíamos dado hasta las 7 de la tarde de hoy, era el operativo que iba a hacer de avión escoba. Han sido 2 aviones escoba en vez de 1, pero el último avión que iba a salir hoy por la tarde, que así estaba planeado, porque en el mecanismo de protección civil, el mecanismo de evacuación, dimos un plazo de 36 horas desde el primer momento a todos los países para que pudieran manejar tanto sus vuelos como sus aviones, como sus repatriaciones. Ese mecanismo nunca ha cambiado. Es más, esta mañana el buque ha tenido que repostar y también ha tenido que ser habituallado. Todas esas maniobras tenían que hacerse sí o sí en el día de hoy. Nada ha cambiado desde lo que estaba planificado y por eso creo que esta misión ha sido un éxito desde el principio.
Vale. Pues primero, ministra, quería felicitarles por una operación exitosa. Quería preguntar sobre el tripulante que se ha quedado en el barco y los que han salido. Hemos hablado mucho de los pasajeros, pero el tripulante, ¿de dónde son? ¿Cuántos van a Países Bajos? Y si me podrías contestar en castellano y luego en inglés. Muchas gracias.
Bien, son 27 personas son las que se han quedado, entre tripulantes y un médico y una enfermera, ¿vale?, de la Organización Mundial de la Salud. Y hay múltiples nacionalidades también entre los tripulantes, ¿vale? There are many nationalities under the crew. There are 27 between crew and 1 doctor and 1 nurse. Thank you very much.
Corina, de la agencia Reuters. Explíquenos un poco el procedimiento de estos pasajeros que son de Australia, van a Holanda. ¿Ellos van a hacer la cuarentena allí o van luego a Australia? ¿Nos puede contar qué es lo que va a pasar?
Va a pasar lo que ha dicho el gobierno de Australia y es que ellos se van a encargar de que esos pasajeros hagan el recorrido, como bien saben y que está lejos, hagan el dispositivo y el recorrido que el gobierno australiano nos ha determinado. Muchas gracias.
Really? Does this sound like a rerun of a very bad movie to you guys? I haven't looked at any of Trump's comments, if he's made any about it, but this shit right here, this sounds like a rerun of 2019. And here's my biggest question. I'm no genius by any stretch of the imagination, but if you had people isolated, why would you send them to other parts of the world? Why wouldn't you, I don't know, fly in? So let's say there's 10 Americans. Why wouldn't you fly in 10 of the best American doctors in pathology or whatever to that ship and isolate them? I mean, I know the reasoning behind it is, you're right, Rosemary, is to spread it faster, but people aren't catching on to this shit. And You know, the funny thing is I thought one of them was going to say flatten the curve. I thought that was coming out of their mouth. Trump and RFK Jr. just did. I posted the. Oh, okay. I don't know. It sounds really, really hinky to me. Yeah, buddy. Sounds a little bullshit inbound. Let me see. I want to get... Let's go look at the maps. Oh, they led with it this morning? Imagine that. Let's see what we got going on here. I mean, it's getting so fucking predictable. Let's see. Oh, holy shit, there's a lot up. So, see, here's a NATO flight. Let's, give me 1 second. It'll take it a second. Yeah, so it shows now on ABC7 American test positive for the hantavirus. Being returned to the United States. DHL. Wonder why there's so many people tracking this. There must be an issue with this plane. Well, it is circling, so maybe there's a issue with it. Where was that? NATO? Right there it is. I think you're going to see Europe in a fucking panic. Because where are they flying up near Kaliningrad? Because with us withdrawing troops and basically Germany telling us to kick rocks. I don't know about you guys, but it sounds an awfully like the Monroe Doctrine. Let's see. This is the most tracked aircraft right now. A Sikorsky. I wonder... I heard a lot of fuckers tracking this. Wonder what that is all about. Hell, that damn thing may have some of these passengers on it. Yeah, see, there was that Isle of Man I was talking about. I don't know why I was getting that confused with Gibraltar. And the only reason I knew exactly where Gibraltar's at because there was a huge dart tournament in Gibraltar. Let's see here. Dang, this is taking a minute for it to populate. Okay, so this is off. I don't know why this section here is running so slow. Probably because I'm sure ADSB and all of these flight trackers are getting their asses tore up with traffic. Yeah, so they're flying a lot of aircraft out in here, and it's probably I did hear another interesting story that and who knows, it may have been put out. Yeah, yeah, I see now, Kathy, where 17 passengers arrive in Nebraska. So the CDC must have maybe a huge facility in Nebraska that would be, who the hell knows? I mean, I guess I get why they, you know, flew them to their home countries. But like I said, I'm not the smartest fucker in the world, but if you want to use stop the spread bullshit, let's see here. One from Iowa, Nebraska tested positive with no symptoms. Gotcha. Release them in the cornfields. Let's see. I don't know. I just find all of this very fucking convenient. Very convenient. That's a funny call sign, Lost 05. Chaos, that's probably a refueler supporting all these. We must have, they're doing a lot of test flights for this T-38, so they must be getting ready to release these to the fleet. Pensacola, a lot of shit happening. NAS. There's just a lot of shit. I think this is a special air mission. This, yeah. From Belleville. Is that? So this down here, this P8, this is a sub hunter, a Navy. So he flew out of NAS Jacksonville. And I'm sure Russia has a boat down there. Yeah, this, same landing in D.C. Was that one that, that spar flight? No, he was further out. Oh, there it is. So did he come all the way from Bangor, Washington? So that's a huge, Maine. Let's see. Huh. Yeah. I have a feeling, and I could be wrong. I believe, and we'll get into this in tonight's show at 10 o'clock. I believe the results come back from Bellevue. And they're flying in all the top brass after the results come back. Not definite. Yeah, I'm not 100% positive, but I was told the results had come back from what we'll talk about tonight. And I bet you they are flying all the top kiddies into DC for a little powwow. Let's see here. There was legit. I'm gonna do this. I put this thing in here. I have no clue how it works, but it's an interactive game that you guys can do. Oh, is it really that tall? Holy shit. Hold on 1 second. I'll make this on top. I'll lock it in. Alright. So I think it's called words or something. Let's see if it works. Panda keeps coming to my door and knocking. And then when I open up the door, she just stares at me like I'm retarded. Come on. Come on. Good girl. Yeah, so let me see. This thing is now she wants back out. She's driving me crazy. Go on. Yeah, do you like when we were kids? Let's see if this one works. Tic-tac-toe. Let's see if that works. Yeah, she's still. No, I think her boyfriend is out there and she wants to go see him. Yeah, this morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, I thought somebody was murdering this dog because she was howling, and I woke up and I went down to where I have this couch in front of this one window, and she sits up there because she can see her boyfriend's house. And here they're the results of what I think we got out of Iran. So this cat that they have looks like Garfield. His name's Camilo, I think, or I don't know, some damn Honduran name. And she was just howling because he was sitting over, he walked across the road and was sitting in our yard just like, what was tested? The powder, the uranium. And she wanted to go out and see him, so I had to take her out at 5 o'clock in the morning. so she could go see him. And then after she seen him, she calmed down, come in and laid down and went to bed. But it sounded like somebody was murdering her. Let me see, wonder why this trigger, she literally knocks, she takes her paw up and she'll like smack her paw on the door. This dog is nuts. Yeah, see, that trigger there is supposed to start this crossword game, but you guys play against each other, but I think what I'll have to do with her knuckles, I'm saying, she like takes her paw and she like beats on the door. I'll have to get a small video of it and put it up there, because it's just crazy. That's like when my mom talks to her, right? She like literally turns her head like she's ignoring her. It is so damn funny. And then she's started this thing now where she like snorts at her when my mom calls her name. And she'll look at her and go, and then turns her head. Let's see here. I mean, they're so like kids. It's hilarious. I have to hold my phone to hear kids. I didn't quite get what you meant. Is my volume too low, Teresa? Is that what you're saying? Okay. Gotcha. Mm-hmm. All right. I think I know why Miss Panda keeps coming in here. She can hear her boyfriend outside. So I know you guys will love this. Let me turn on.
Shut up, Pussy. I'm talking to Flipper.
The BBC
TV was full
static
of
covers
animals,
up the voice. Okay.
But maybe our world could be soon, in a way. This prize is extremely serious. Yossi, tell us about this prize. Why is its time come, and what do you hope to achieve?
So we initiated the prize 2 years ago.
All right, I'll be back here shortly.
I mean the Color Foundation.
And no, Sissy, it won't be an hour.
Tel Aviv University. The idea is indeed, as you said, that AI is now taking over our world and allowing us, giving us a lot of new opportunities. That's one thing. The other thing is that we're accumulating huge data sets of recordings of animals, and the combination of these two, AI on the one hand, is huge data sets on the other hand, altogether make this a very, very interesting time to think about talking with animals.
Talk us through briefly the criteria, because it's a really big prize. There's an ultimate sort of $10 million prize involved, but there's also these smaller $100,000 prizes. What are the criteria? What is it you're looking for?
So the criteria for the small, let's call it the small prize, are you don't have to really have two-way communication. It's also legit to just decode, to make a serious advance in decoding animal communication. Okay, so if we think of a dolphin, for example, that is whistling, if there's a group that shows that they made clear advance in understanding what these whistles mean, that could be enough to win the prize. Of course, ultimately, we hope that somebody will develop, let's call it a machine, which can fully autonomously communicate with an animal. So you can imagine almost a conversation, although I'm a little bit skeptic about the word conversation, but let's just imagine, a bird chirping, the machine answering, the bird then responding, and so on and so forth. In multiple contexts, by the way. We also emphasize it has to be in multiple contexts, not only in a single context.
We have a clip of finalist Catherine Crockford of the CNRS Institute for Cognitive Sciences in Lyon, and she's been looking at chimpanzees and she's found that the supposedly simple language of chimpanzees is more complex than we thought.
So perceived wisdom until about 20 years ago was that chimpanzees, their communication, especially their vocal communication, is very emotional and doesn't actually contain a lot of semantic content about the external environment. And we now know that this is very different. It's a very different picture. There is a lot of meaning-based information in their single calls and their repertoires. Even more interesting, now that we have this bedrock of knowledge about what these single calls are saying, we find out that chimpanzees have a lot of call combinations in their repertoire. So they're very flexibly combining these single calls into longer utterances, and that these utterances change the meaning of the composing calls. So an example of these compositional-like structures where calls are combined together would be the who plus pant example, where a who on its own might be given in a resting context, sounds a bit like this, and a pant is given in an affiliative context, usually during an approach like this. And then when these two calls are combined together in one utterance, they are produced in a nesting context. So every night chimpanzees build a nest far from the forest floor, and usually with other chimps together, and this is when they produce this combination in this very specific context. So we see a kind of meaning shift here.
Yossi, what I find really interesting about this clip is we're talking there about one of our close relatives, and one of the things about humans, we're always looking for things that make humans exceptional, and one of the things to say is our use of language. Scientifically, are you looking to show that language isn't actually that special, or are you actually trying to find out why human language is so much more complex and special than that of our chimpanzee relatives?
Yeah, I would say neither. I do believe that human language, when I say believe, I mean scientifically believe based on everything I've seen, is unique. There is a leap there. It's different from any other animal communication system that we're familiar with because of its ability to, what I'm doing right now, to concatenate words into sentences that have different meanings. We're not aware of any animal that has that, but just like we've just heard about chimpanzees, we're discovering that animal, let's call them communication systems, are more complex than we've previously thought. Even when it comes to an animal, as you said, so close to us, chimpanzees, we didn't know enough because people were just not collecting enough data.
Well, our common ancestor of chimpanzees is pretty recent. I think our common ancestor with the African striped mouse goes a lot further back. And we've got a clip of the African striped mouse talking now. Now, that's not actually what they sound like, because you can't hear what they sound like. It's too high-pitched. We spoke to finalist Nicolas Matavan from the University of Saint-Étienne, who has been using ultrasonic equipment to eavesdrop on their surprisingly rich conversations.
The conclusion of this is that the mice, they are able to understand the information. They are able to extract the information that is coded in the call, so they know if the calls come from a familiar individual, a neighbor individual, or a stranger individual. And of course, they behave differently depending on the identity of the caller. To put it in a nutshell, this acoustic communication, the acoustic communication system of the African striped mouse is probably amazing. It's very complicated, and it's probably related to the fact that their social life is quite complicated.
Yossi, if we ever get your Doolittle machine, do you think we'll ever really have a conversation with an animal, or cognitively are we too far apart? Is it too difficult to know what it is to be a chimpanzee, or to be a fish, or to be an African striped mouse?
Wittgenstein famously said something like, I'm not quoting him exactly, but something like, even if a lion could speak, we would not be able to understand it. And I agree with this interpretation. I think, more important people than me have said it before, and I think they hit the point. We're very, very different from animals. As I said, even if we understand animal communication, their communication is probably so much more limited than ours that we will never be able to, in my opinion, communicate or discuss with animals as you and I are doing right now. This does not mean that we will not be able, I'm sure we'll be able to understand them much more, to understand what they're saying, to understand perhaps their needs. And of course, there's also a new direction, or I should say maybe old new direction, where humans are teaching animals to use human communication. Okay, so we're seeing a renaissance of this approach where, for example, dog owners are providing keyboards to dogs and allowing them to press different keys in order to communicate with humans. So this could be another avenue for improving our communication with animals that is not based on the animals' communications, on their own endogenous communication.
Thank you very much. That's Professor Yossi Yovel from Tel Aviv University and chair of the Collar Doolittle Challenge. Now, we've got a big birthday this week.
There. Farther than our guest, judging from the loudness of their calls, and 30 feet up in the tree.
Fresh new shoots draw animals from great distances. There's plenty to eat, but getting to it can be a little uncomfortable. Never before have we had such an awareness of what we are doing to the planet. And never before have we had the power to do something about that.
That was, of course, the broadcaster called David Attenborough. Each week we are honouring his 100th by learning about other things called David Attenborough, about the things named after him. This week we talked to Dr. Sophie Fielding, ecologist and science capability coordinator at the Natural Environment Research Council, or NERC. We're talking to her because she was involved in the design of the research ship RRS David Attenborough, and she joined us for an interview from aboard that ship, docked in the Falkland Islands, before she disembarked for the season, after just completing a research trip to South Georgia and resupplying some of the research bases ahead of their winter.
So we need ships like the Sir David Attenborough to go out and collect the evidence that is contributing to our understanding of what's happening in the environment. And in particular, we need to understand what's happening around climate variability, around carbon cycling, the amount of carbon dioxide that's taken in by the oceans, the amount of warming that's occurring in the oceans. These are the bits and pieces of information that tell us what is happening to our future climate. And they also tell us, as we start to look at ways to reduce our footprint in the environment, we need to understand whether some of the kind of things that we're bringing in to manage our outputs, manage our carbon dioxide outputs, are they working? We need that evidence, and that's what the research vessel is about. It's about collecting that evidence from the oceans.
Why is it particularly polar that you go to for that?
So what happens at the poles doesn't stay at the poles. Our Earth environment is very linked, and we can take one thing, for example, specifically an area that we were down at on this particular cruise was the tip of the Weddell Sea. So this is the bottom of the South Atlantic as you get towards the Antarctic Peninsula, and there that area is a key area for the generation of Antarctic bottom water. And that Antarctic bottom water is dense, it's salty, it's low temperature, and it's actually got a lot of carbon in it, and it sinks because of that, and then spreads out from the bottom of Antarctica all the way through the Atlantic, and it actually has an impact in driving the Atlantic circulation. So essentially what is going on down at those poles is influencing our environment in the Atlantic more widely. There's that. There's also, the Southern Ocean absorbs about 40% of the total human-generated carbon dioxide emissions. So understanding how the Southern Ocean absorbs that carbon dioxide is a top priority. It's not just what's happening in the Southern Ocean, it's what's happening across the whole globe.
You were involved about a decade ago, I think, in the design of this ship. What cool stuff's it got?
I was incredibly lucky to be involved in the design of this ship, and what was really interesting was recognising, what capabilities do we need for this vessel to have for the next 30 years. So some of the things that have been built into it, for example, are a trace metal capability. So as we were saying, the Southern Ocean plays a crucial role in the global carbon cycle, and actually phytoplankton, microscopic plants play that significant role in the Southern Ocean carbon cycle, and they rely on a micronutrient iron in order to photosynthesize. And that means we need to actually understand how much iron there is in the ocean. But in the Southern Ocean, these levels are really, really small. We use a titanium instrument. We send that down to up to 6,000 meters. Once we collect those samples from depth, bring them up, and we even have our own clean laboratory here.
Uniform, stand by. Golf, X-ray, uniform, Romeo, Yankee, uniform, stand by. Message follows. Golf, X-ray, uniform, Romeo, Yankee, uniform, Alpha, Yankee, Golf, 2, Victor, Papa, Hotel, Foxtrot, 6, Alpha, 6, Bravo, Hotel, 3, Bravo, Sierra, Delta, Zulu, Oscar, 3, Sierra, Quebec, Echo, Golf, I say again, Golf, X-ray, uniform, Romeo, Yankee, uniform, Alpha, Yankee, Golf, 2, Victor, Papa, Hotel, Foxtrot, 6, Alpha, 6, Bravo, Hotel, 3, Bravo, Sierra, Delta, Zulu, Oscar, 3, Sierra, Quebec, Echo, Golf. This is Ambition out.
Operation. It is indeed an incredible and historic operation, and we've never done anything so effectively. We've had a lot of victories. They've spent night and day enduring scorching hot and bitter cold, and they've given up their holidays and their weekends working with the officers. Deported, or if they're really bad, they're put into prison because we don't want to ever take a chance if they come back. As a result, illegal border crossings have plummeted to the lowest level ever recorded in the history of our country. Think of that. The history of our country. You can all be very proud. For the past 7 months, 0 illegal aliens have been admitted to the United States of America. We inherited the worst border in the history of our country, one of the worst borders, I would say, in the world. I can't imagine any border in the world being worse. They allowed 25 million on earth, they allowed to come into our country. We're getting a lot of them out. We've made a big dent. And the self-deportation is something nobody talks about, but literally millions of people are self-deporting because they don't want to be captured. Once they're captured, they don't have the chance to self-deport. And they never have the chance to come back into our country. We inherited that border from an incompetent administration and turned it into the strongest border.
Connection isn't just physical, it's mental too. And that's actually why I wanted to share this. It's called Blue Chew Gold. What makes this one different is it's just not the focus on the physical side. It also supports mental arousal, so you're not just stuck in your head. And when you're not overthinking everything, you can just actually relax and be present, which honestly changes everything. If you want to feel that connection again, you can try Blue Chew Gold.
For anesthesias, various other things. I want people to understand that. It's not made necessarily for bad. When it's mixed with certain things, it becomes bad. And that's what's taking place in Mexico. And we've got it down to a much lower number, not satisfactory, but it will be satisfactory soon. In May, we executed the largest fentanyl bust in the history of the U.S., seizing 3 million fentanyl pills all at one time. Think of that, 3 million pills. It's amounted to billions of dollars worth of drugs. And last month we seized another 1.7 million fentanyl pills in the state of Colorado, the poorly run state of Colorado, with a governor who's incompetent. And frankly, with a governor that won't allow our wonderful Tina to come out of a jail, in a high-intensity jail, because she caught people cheating on an election, and they said she was cheating. She wasn't cheating. She went over, she looked at one of the election scams going on, and because she did that, they put her in jail for 9 years. The governor of Colorado is a weak and pathetic man who was run by Tren de Aragua, the criminals from Venezuela, took over sections of Colorado. And he was afraid to do anything. But he puts Tina in jail for 9 years because she caught people cheating. And when she walked over and got involved in it, they said she was cheating. She wasn't cheating. She caught people cheating on the election, 2020, along with a lot of other people that cheated on that election. You'll see that coming out more and more. But there's no doubt that America's adversaries are trafficking fentanyl into the United States, in part because they want to kill Americans. If this were a war, that would be one of the worst wars. I believe they killed, over the last 5 or 6 years, per year, 200 to 300,000 people. You hear about 100,000, which is a lot of people, but the number's much higher than that. That's been proven. And they've destroyed a lot of families, because when they lose a child, or even if their child is heavily addicted, you lose that family. The family will never be the same. That's why today I'm taking one more step to protect Americans from the scourge of deadly fentanyl flooding into our country. With this historic executive order I will sign today, we're formally classifying fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction, which is what it is. No bomb does what this is doing. 200 to 300,000 people die every year that we know of. So we're formally classifying fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction. But before I sign the fentanyl order, we will pin these great service members with their medals. And here today are the first 13 warriors who will receive the Mexican Border Defense Medal, which is a big deal. First, I'd like to ask Secretary Hegseth and Chairman Kane to say a few words. I'd like to have Tom Homan come up, please, if you would, say a few words. And I want to thank all of the people, Pam and everybody, Stephen Miller, great Stephen Miller, what a job he's doing, for being here. Thank you both. Appreciate it very much. We have so many great people here. But I do want to ask Tom to say a few words also. So, Pete, why don't you start it off, please? Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you. I would echo what you said. This has been a team effort from the beginning. Tom Homan, Terry Cole, Stephen Miller, Pam Bondi, Christy Nome, Customs and Border Patrol Protection. It has been one team, one mission to get 100% operational control of the southern border. You want to talk about America First, peace through strength and common sense? It all manifests in one basic phrase down there. Border security is national security. And we had the task of 100% control, and because of these men and women back here, we've achieved that. Nobody is crossing the southern border. And I want to give a big shout out to our Northern Command, General Guillot. From day one, they said, our department didn't look at the border this way before you. Joe Biden allowed an invasion of this country. Tens of millions of people, drugs, gangs, violence, and the military jumped to it on day one with our partners. Ultimately, it was incredible Americans. There's 13 up here with us today. They all represent about 2,000 people who've served at the border so far. So 25,000 Americans qualify for this Mexican National Defense Border Medal that we're announcing today. And what's cool about this medal, it was actually first given out in 1918. So we're reviving an old medal that existed, was given to men and women who defended the southern border. We found out about it. We used the exact same foundry with the exact same imagery, same color, same medal, same everything. So our men and women will be wearing that very same medal as Americans 100 years before who were asked to defend the sovereignty of our country. President Trump was elected to do that. You have done that, Mr. President. We're proud of this mission. We're proud to defend the American people. And pinning these medals on is an example of how important it is to us. So thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. President, Mr. Secretary, I want to echo your thanks and gratitude for the joint force. I also want to highlight General Guillot, General Nauman, and Command Sergeant Major Johnson, but also leaders at every level that came together, not just in our joint force, but in the interagency. And I want to specifically highlight our Border Patrol teammates and our Office of Air and Marine teammates who, when I went down to the southern border and visited, were right there next to the joint force. I also want to thank not just these 13 individuals, but the joint force that was also down there and your families who poured in to make this deployment possible on the southern border. And of course, this time of the year, I'm always thinking about our currently deployed forces who are out there around the world doing our nation's business, and of course our fallen and their families who show us what courage and tenacity really are as they move forward after the loss of a service member. So thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Tom, please.
You know, it's always an honor for me to be in the Oval Office with the greatest president of my lifetime. Yes, I said it, and I meant it. You know, I just got home last night. I toured the border in California, Arizona, and Texas. I did it in a four-wheel drive. I did it on the river. I did it from the air. Hundreds upon hundreds of miles of border. I didn't see one illegal alien. Not a single one. I've done this since 1984. I worked for 6 different presidents. No one's done more than President Trump. What he has done is gave us the most secure border in the history of this nation. Hard to stop. I went hundreds of miles of border and didn't see one illegal alien. Incredible, considering the Biden administration, we had 10, 12,000 a day, most released in the United States. I'm proud to be with these patriots behind me. I'm already proud to be in the Oval Office of the President, but being with these heroes, I met some of these soldiers down on the border. And actually, a shout out to Fort Drum, New York. We got some 10th Mountain Division here, so Elise Stefanik, Claudia Tennant, we all love Fort Drum and the 10th Mountain. So look, this is a game changer. I want to make something perfectly clear, because we get attacked all the time being inhumane. The Biden administration is much more humane. It's a bunch of crap. Because there's been studies done that 31% of women that make that journey through the cartels get sexually assaulted. They get raped. And not just the women, children too. I've done numerous investigations in that. Sex trafficking was historic highs with that open border. Fentanyl, historic highs that killed 250,000 Americans. No inspector terrorists that came across the border. Record, historic. What happened under the Biden administration was the most inhumane thing I've seen in my lifetime. Now that the border is 96% decline, 96% less people are coming, how many women aren't being raped? How many children aren't dying making that journey? How many women and children aren't being sex trafficked into this country every day? How many known suspected terrorists aren't just walking across that border? President Trump and this administration is saving thousands of lives every month. Hard stop. That's just a stone cold fact. I'm just proud to be a part of this. I work with Steve Miller every day. Steve Miller is one of the most brilliant people I've met in my entire life. President Trump brought together one hell of a team here, and the success proves we all working together, one team, one fight. We're not done yet. We're going to keep going, and I guarantee you we can continue saving thousands and thousands of lives. Secure border means strong national security. Secure border saves lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Okay, let's do the medals, and I'll be signing this. Maybe you'll do the medals first, and then I'll sign, okay? Please. Nice medal. It's not bad. That's a great job. That's great. Thank Great job. Great job, fellas. No auto pen. None, ever. We don't like auto pens, right? We don't like auto pens.
Now's the time to unbox new business cards from Vistaprint. Just upload your design or tweak one of our thousands of templates. From premium paper to options like embossed gloss, you can design a card that pops. Create your card at Vistaprint today.
Fantastic job. You guys, fantastic job. Thank you very much. Great job.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Great job. What you've done is unprecedented. How about holding that up? You guys hold it up. Nice. Hold it up high. You deserve it more than me. So I'm going to give you another medal, though, that may be more beautiful. I'm not sure it means as much, but it's really good, okay? This is gun medal. This is the one the military loves. So we're going to start, okay?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, dear. Here you go.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President.
It's pretty nice. Want to compare it? Let me see, compare it. Let me see how that looks. I don't know. That looks pretty good.
Thank you, Mr. President.
But that means something very special.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. President.
What you can do, tie it around your neck. Just got a nice ribbon. I think you'll like it. It's special. We don't give them to many people.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President.
Come on over here. Come there. Look at this guy.
It's the man to be at half.
That's 4 sides up big. That means a lot up there. Hey, General, come on over here, even though you have one. I gave him one. No? This general right here, General Raisin Cane. He's a great general. Thanks very much. Well, thank you very much, everybody. It's an honor. This is a fantastic moment. I haven't done this before. And the job they've done on the border is unthinkable. What they left us with, that they would have open borders with millions of people, 25 million people, probably more than that, pouring into our border. Totally unchecked and unvetted. Now we have the opposite. And we want people in our country, but they have to come in legally. And they know that, and they know they're not getting through, so now they don't even try. So all of the death that Tom Holman talked about, the rape and the death and all the problem doesn't really happen because the caravans, a name I think I came up with, maybe not, but the caravans are very small. In fact, for the most part, they don't even exist anymore because they know they're not going to get through. In a little while, you'll be seeing, I'm suing the BBC for putting words in my mouth, literally, they put words in my mouth. They had me saying things that I never said coming out. I guess they used AI or something. So we'll be bringing that lawsuit. A lot of people are asking, when are you bringing that lawsuit? Even the media can't believe that one. They actually put terrible words in my mouth having to do with January 6th that I didn't say. And the beautiful words that I said, right? The beautiful words. Talking about patriotism and all of the good things that I said, they didn't say that, but they put terrible words. They actually have me speaking with words that I never said, and they got caught because I believe somebody at BBC said, this is so bad, it has to be reported. That's called fake news. So we'll be filing that suit probably this afternoon or tomorrow morning. I want to thank all of you for being here. If you have any questions, I guess you could ask, but this is really a day of celebration for these people. The job they've done is really unprecedented. So go ahead.
On Brown University, Mr. President, do you know what the motive of the shooter was? Was it a targeted attack?
Sure. That's moving along now, and we don't, and we're going to see what happens. Hopefully they're going to capture this animal. Hopefully they're going to capture it.
Has Kash Patel told you why it's been so difficult for the FBI to identify who the shooter is?
Well, it's always difficult. So far, we've done a very good job of doing it with Charlie, with, the various times this has happened. They've done it in pretty much record time. But you'd really have to ask the school a little bit more about that because, this was a school problem. They had their own guards, they had their own police, they had their own everything, but you'd have to ask that question really to the school, not to the FBI. We came in after the fact, and the FBI will do a good job, but they came in after the fact.
Do you know if it was targeted, Mr. President?
No, they don't know that yet, no.
Sir, on the issue of drugs, is it accurate that you are considering an executive order to reclassify marijuana under the control?
We are considering that, yeah.
Are you planning?
Because a lot of people want to see it, the reclassification, because it leads to tremendous amounts of research that can't be done unless you reclassify. So we are looking at that very strongly.
Mr. President,
Katie?
is it true that the reports that you rebuked the Israeli Prime Minister, are the reports that you rebuked the Israeli Prime Minister for the hit on the Hamas general true? And is Israel undermining your efforts to be a peacemaker?
No, Israel and I have gotten along very well. My relationship with Bibi Netanyahu has been obviously a very good one. Look, we took out Iran. We wiped out, with that plane right there, we wiped out the B-2 bomber. We wiped out the Iran nuclear threat. And because of that, we were able to make peace in the Middle East. No, we've had a very good relationship with Israel. We actually have a very good relationship with just about everybody in the Middle East.
Violation of the ceasefire, the strike on the Hamas general?
We're going to have to, we're looking into that. Yeah, we're looking into it.
On the Syria ambush of U.S. forces, do you still have confidence in the Syrian president?
I do. I mean, this had nothing to do with him. This is a part of Syria that they really don't have much control over. And it was a surprise. He feels very badly about it. He's working on it. He's a strong man. And no, this had nothing to do with the Syrian government. This had to do with ISIS.
What will the U.S. response be?
As a response, they'll be hit hard, yeah.
Javier Negre, Real America's Voice on Español. First of all, thanks for honoring these heroes. The communists have lost Chile. The pro-Trump candidate, José Antonio Caz, won the elections. Do you think this right-wing wave in the Spanish world is due to your influence?
Well, we just had a good one in Honduras, as you know. Had a great election there. I endorsed somebody that was not leading, and he won the election. And we had a good one just a couple of hours ago. I found out in Chile, the person I endorsed, who was not leading, ended up winning quite easily. So I look forward to paying my respects to him. I hear he's a very good person. Yeah.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. President. This year you fired Democrats from a number of federal agencies, and now going into 2026, there are some key regulators like the SEC, the CFTC that are going to have 0 Democrats. Do you plan to appoint Democrats to fill those empty spots, or do you think that federal agencies shouldn't have Democrat commissioners?
Well, do you think they would be appointing Republicans if it were up to them? So, we'll look at it. Look, we want to be fair, but typically they're not appointing Republicans. So you're asking me the question whether or not I'd appoint Democrats. But there are certain areas that we do look at, and there are certain areas that we do share power. And I'm open to that. Please.
Mr. President, a number of Republicans have denounced your statement on Truth Social after the murder of Rob Reiner. Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. It was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all, in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country, yeah.
Blue slips, Mr. President. Leader Thune doesn't seem like he wants to get rid of blue slips. Will there be consequences for the Senate if they
Well, I think they should get rid of blue slips because as a Republican president, I am unable to put anybody in office having to do with U.S. attorneys or having to do with judges. In other words, if you have one, not two, you don't need two, just one. If you have one Democrat senator, where we have a lot of them, you have one Democrat senator in a state, it is not possible to appoint, because of blue slips, a judge. It's not possible to appoint a U.S. attorney. You see that happening. And I think it's a disgrace. I think blue slips are a disgrace. They've long since, they should not be relevant anymore. This is a different world than it was 15, 20 years ago. That was a gentleman and gentlewoman world. This is a little bit different, unfortunately. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, what do you want to see Congress do this week as it relates to health care and the expiring ACA?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'd like to see the people get the money. I'd like to see all of the money that's going to the Democrat insurance companies. The insurance companies are making a fortune. They're up 1,700% and more. And they're taking in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars, even trillions of dollars. And Obamacare gives you terrible health care. just so you understand, Obamacare was set up, and I said it right from the beginning, for the benefit of the health insurance companies, of the insurance companies. They're making billions and billions of dollars. Their stock is through the roof. I don't want to give them anything. I want all money going to the people and let the people buy their own health care. It'll be unbelievable. They'll do a great job. They'll get much better health care at a much lower cost.
Would you like Republicans next year to just use reconciliation to do with health care exactly what you laid out, and they wouldn't have to worry about Democratic votes?
Well, that or knock out the filibuster. If you knocked out the filibuster, it would all go away. But we have a few people that wouldn't do that. It's crazy. Look, we should knock out the filibuster. And if you did that, we'd get voter ID. You'd have no mail-in voting, all things that make our elections dishonest. And you'd get a lot of other things having not even to do with voting. But Republicans should knock out the filibuster, and we should approve a lot of things. You wouldn't have January 30th looming because, you have the 30th of January looming. You know that, right? And if we knocked out the filibuster, it would be just a simple approval. But you have some Republicans, they're unable to explain why. If you ask them why, they're unable to explain it. They cannot win the debate. But they should knock out the filibuster. And frankly, they should get rid of the blue slips too, yeah.
Mr. President, the Democrats won Miami where you won the election 1 year ago. Do you think it's because of the Hispanic media like Telemundo that are publishing fake news about the ICE operations? How do you plan to win back those votes for midterms?
Yeah, well, I won that whole election. And, it's interesting. When I'm not running, we don't do as well. And I'm going to try and get that changed for the midterms. But we did have a big win in Tennessee, as you know. Matt Van Epps had a big win in Tennessee against a very strong candidate, attractive candidate, who a lot of people thought would do very well. And Matt won by a lot. And I won Tennessee by a real lot. We had a great election. We won every single swing state. We won the popular vote. We won everything. And there's a thing that they have now, districts, which is a big deal. I think in a way it's the most important stat from the standpoint of, looking at numbers accurately. So out of thousands of districts, I won 2,750 versus 525. Think of that, 2,750 versus 525. It was great. That's why the map, when you see a map of the election, it's all red other than two little narrow lines on the other side, please.
Sir, Jimmy Lai was convicted today in Hong Kong. Do you have any reactions?
I feel so badly. I spoke to President Xi about it, and I asked to consider his release. He's not well. He's an older man, and he's not well. So I did put that request out. We'll see what happens. Okay? Yeah, please, Katie.
Question about Ukraine. Now that the meetings in Berlin have wrapped up with Zelensky, is there a timetable for going to Moscow? Is a delegation going?
Well, I think that the delegation is largely there right now, actually. They're in Europe, and they met with those people that I called out before, the various countries, plus some others. They want to see it end, Katie. They want to see it end. They all. I want to see it end. They want to see it end. I actually think that President Putin wants to see it end. I've had good talks. We've had good talks with Russia, and I think they'd like to get back to a more normal way of life.
Mr. President, follow up there. An Article 5 deal seems to be emerging without NATO membership for Ukraine. If such a security guarantee is offered, what incentive is there for Ukraine to give up any sort of territory?
Well, look, you have, they've already lost the territory, to be honest. I mean, the territory is lost. But in terms of security guarantee, we're working with Europe on it. Europe would be a big part of that. And we're working on the security guarantee so the war doesn't start up again. We don't want to have a war start up again. As I said, with Thailand and Cambodia, two people I get along with great. And I dealt with them, and I called them, and I said, look, fellas, you got to relax. You got to take it easy. They lost. They started the war again, and I got it ended. And things like that are going to happen. War. There's nothing pretty about war, nothing good, and there's nothing you can do to predict what's going to happen. But I think we've made a lot of progress with respect to Russia and Ukraine. I hope. You know, last month it was close to 27,000 soldiers were killed, mostly soldiers, but 27,000 people, but mostly soldiers were killed last month in Russia versus Ukraine.
Is there a time limit on security guarantees?
Well, there's no time limit. The time limit is whenever we get it done. I mean, we're going to try to get it done. We're making progress. It's more difficult than anybody could have thought. I would have said that half of the wars that I got settled, some were going for over 30 years, that half of them should have been more difficult, and they actually haven't been. There's a lot of dislike between the two leaders, you know that, and so it probably makes it a little bit tough.
Have you recently spoken directly to Putin?
Yeah, I have.
On Syria, Mr. President, on the U.S. troops killed in Syria over the weekend, why do we have troops in Syria?
Administrator of the Drug Enforcement Agency, Terry Cole, and many other members of our administration who have done an incredible job on the border. You know, people forget now that the border has been secure for actually 7 months. Think of it, more. And they don't mention the border anymore. Nobody talks about the border. They talk about affordability, and we're the ones that are bringing the prices down. We were given the worst inflation in our country's history, and we're bringing the prices down. But the affordability is on the Democrats because they have made it unaffordable to be in this country, but we're bringing those prices down, and they're coming down quickly. Energy is coming way down, and if you look, gasoline prices are hitting in many locations $1.99 a gallon. Nobody thought they'd see that. There were $4, $5, and $6 a gallon under Biden. In the 4 years before I took office, our southern border was surrendered to criminals, drug cartels, human traffickers, and child smugglers. Our entire southwest border on the Mexican side is under the physical control of cartels that are among the most violent entities nobody's ever seen anywhere on the planet, the most violent people on the planet. Remember when the Democrats and others, the radical left, used to say that the people they're allowing into our country, immigrants, are nice people. They're not violent like our people. Well, they make our people look like babies. These are some of the most violent criminals anywhere on earth from many countries, not just Venezuela. Venezuela emptied their jails into our country. But others have also. The Congo has. So many other countries have. And we don't put up with it. I have to say the drugs coming in by sea are down 94%. And we're trying to figure out who the other 6% are. But they're down 94%, and we're going to start hitting them.
Yeah, I'm trying to get. I knew that was a replay. I was just trying to get some. Because I know a lot of people don't like the BBC. But let me see here. Let's see. I was seeing that there was a massive fire somewhere, and then there was a police-involved shooting, so I was trying to get some video of that. Yeah, no, it was because I was going through and flipping task, and yeah, Trump is suing the BBC. Trump's suing a lot of fucking people. More power to him. Trying to find out where this fire is at and who's covering it. Let's see. Yeah, now I'll be on Liberty tonight. I believe it's at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then after that, uh, I put up a place marker for 10 o'clock. Uh, we're gonna talk about some information that I was given that I believe is going to prove that possibly I was correct. oh, one armed bandit Gracie's in here. Hold on to your chips. Boy, it seems like YouTube is kind of acting up. Let me get rid of a couple of these here. Free up some. Let me close this out. Yeah, I had heard about that, Cheryl. Did they say did they say if it was a boomer or a fast attack, or did they give a name of the sub? To confuse the masses. Yeah, yeah. The gambling. This gambling is kind of like Vegas. The shit's rigged. Yeah, I think it's like the times now. I didn't even realize because I was just trying to get some, some live news up for you guys, and I knew I didn't think there was anything on Trump's calendar today. And then when I seen it, I was like, oh shit. Surprised somebody didn't say fake news. Oh, let's see. Yeah, so I took my mother out to the grocery store today, and I thought I was gonna have to knock some 80-year-old lady out. I hate going out in the public. Let's see. Where in the heck? All right, looks like this police shootings in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Yeah, so I guess this shooting was like 2 hours ago. I'm trying to see. There are so many. There are so many quote unquote news broadcasters that are saying shit's live, but it's all rehash. Is Gracie still winning?
Oh, we have a lot of people here still, though. I was gonna head out unless you want to hang out more. I want to fix this computer stuff. And
Yeah, it looks like they kind of wrapping that nonsense up. I was seeing Icky Mel was covering it. Let's see. Well, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to end this one, and I got to get some stuff together for this 10 o'clock show because it's going to be fun. Don't forget, I'll be on Liberty tonight at 8 o'clock. So I think it's going to be myself and John Estabrook. So it'll be interesting and a long-winded show. So, but yeah, the 10 o'clock show tonight will be interesting. I think we're going to be able to put a lot of pieces together. But until then, we will see you over at Liberty's. And